Hello, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Philip, and I will be presenting for you today. We're going to start out in the Room Planner app where we have gone out in the field, captured our measurements, and we'll import this as-built plan directly into Chief Architect desktop software to kickstart our design, followed by modifying our walls and adding dimensions, adding stairs, windows, our electrical, a porch, our roof, our framing, our materials list, and our schedules, and then creating some layout sheets. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we are in the Room Planner app by Chief Architect. Room Planner is available on both iOS and Android devices and makes taking measurements for creating as-built plans easy. What we've done so far is gone into the client's home and gone room to room with our Bluetooth laser and placed our laser up against a wall and let it read the distance to the other wall on the opposite side of the room. Once the measurement was read, the walls position in the app moves to accurately model the client's home. We also placed the laser in door and window openings to gather their sizes and read the distance from the openings to the adjacent walls. Once the as-built plan is complete, it is saved up to the cloud where it will import directly into Chief Architect desktop software. You can also take a look at what has been created in 3D and use the soldering controls to walk through your model in a first-person point of view. More information on Room Planner can be found at roomplannersoftware.com. Now we're over in Chief Architect Premiere. When I first open the program, I have my default toolbar configuration at the top of the screen. There are dedicated tools for building walls, placing objects like doors, windows, cabinets, building roofs, framing, and more. Each of these tools is considered a parent tool, and if we click on one, we have a set of child tools that we can use to modify our design. In this example, I've selected our cabinets, which brings up our different cabinet design tools, and my mouse cursor has now been replaced with a square base cabinet that we can place in our design. And I'm going to press spacebar to bring up our mouse cursor again, which allows us to select objects, and you can also access this same command right here in the toolbar. And I'm going to be using this shortcut on our keyboard pretty frequently throughout today's webinar, and once again that shortcut is spacebar on your keyboard. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and import that Room Planner file. So we're going to go up to File, Import, Import Room Planner File, select the file that we want to import, in our case the Hollandale remodel, press OK. And now we have that Room Planner file in our desktop software exactly as it was left off in the app. All of our dimensions and sizes for our walls, doors, and windows is carried over, and we're now ready to start working on our design. Because this is a remodel, we would like to differentiate existing parts of the model from the additions so that when we create our materials list, only new materials are reflected. So what I've already done is I've created a layer called Remodel Existing that is turned on in all of our views. And what we're going to end up doing is placing our doors, windows, and walls on this layer and have this layer be excluded from the materials list. And if you're new to the software, layers are going to be used to manage the display of objects and information throughout our plan. If we open up our layer display options right here in our plan, and then just type in remodel, we can see that this layer is not being used currently. It will be displayed, and it is not going to be included in the materials list. And once again, I just created this layer by pressing new and then creating the new layer. So let's go ahead and cancel out of this. And next we need to place all of our walls on this new layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to group select our walls, open them up, and under the layers panel switch it over to the remodel existing layer. So to group select the walls, we're going to go up and we're going to select our walls parent tool, and then we're going to hold shift on our keyboard and marquee over the area from which we want to select only our walls. So in this case the entire plan. So I've got our wall parent tool selected. I'm going to hold shift on my keyboard and I'm going to marquee on over our plan. And now I've got only our walls selected, and I've got 18 of them selected, and you can see that in the bottom left hand corner. Then we're just going to go down here to open them up, and over here we have different panels that are going to control how the wall interacts with our plan. We're not going to worry too much about this right now, but what we're going to do for now is go down to layer, and then we're going to change it over to our remodel existing layer. There we go, and we are also going to suppress the label since we don't need these. One other thing I want to show real quickly, if we go to our wall types panel, you can see that I have a couple of wall types that I've already created, and one is called Siding 6 Existing and Siding 6 Yellow Edition. This existing wall type is going to have a gray fill, and that's the wall type that we're currently using, but we're going to change over our default settings here in a little bit to be a new wall type with a blue fill, so that when we add new walls we can quickly and easily differentiate them just by looking at our floor plan. And once again, we're going to do that in just a second. So let's go ahead and press OK for now. And next, let's place all of our doors on that remodel existing layer. So we're going to go up to our door tool, hold shift, still holding shift, marquee over our plan. I have 13 doors selected, so now let's open them up. And we're going to do one other thing. We're going to uncheck including schedule right down here. We're going to be creating some schedules later on. We do not want these doors to be displayed. So we're going to uninclude them from the schedules. We're going to go down to our layer panel and switch them over from the doors to the remodel existing layer. And pressing tab there allowed me to quickly select that. And then we're also going to suppress the label of our doors as well. If you're currently a Chief Architect user, you'll notice this new panel called Object Information, and it lets you put in any codes, comments, descriptions, or manufacturer's data, and you can also insert macros with this as well, and this information will be reflected in your schedules. So we're going to press OK on these doors, and next we're going to do the same thing with our windows. Select the window tool, shift, and highlight over our plan. Open up these windows. Uncheck include in schedule, go to the layer and change them to the remodel existing layer. Go to our label and suppress the label of them as well and press OK. And now that we have changed our existing doors, walls, and windows over to the remodel existing layer, they will not be included in our materials list later on. So now that we've done all this, let's take a look at a 3D view. So I'm going to go up to our different camera tools at the top, and I'm going to select our perspective floor overview, which is going to create a view of the current floor with the ceiling removed and all the floors beneath it visible. And we can quickly look at our model and even work in 3D if we wanted to. In fact, we can have both our 2D and our 3D views pulled up side by side by selecting this tab at the top and then dragging it off to the side and then releasing. So next, let's go through and start working on our floor plan and removing some of these walls. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into our full floor plan and just focus in on this area over here. Now, since this is a remodel, we're going to be removing these walls over here and opening up this area to be a better utilized space rather than a small bathroom and a small laundry room and then just a hallway. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove these walls, and if you're going to be creating permits with the software, you may need to show where walls once were, and there's a couple ways you can do that. The first is you can open up this wall, and under our wall types we have a special wall type called Demolition 4, and watch what happens to the fill right here once I change it to the Demolition 4. It changes to this hatch pattern, and we can then create a legend off to the side showing what all of our different wall types are: existing, demolition, and any additional walls that we add. So that's one way we can change that, but this is still going to show in 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this, and we can go ahead and just place a CAD block over this wall and give it a very specific fill and then delete the wall. So we can just go up to our CAD tools, select our CAD box, and then just click and draw it over the wall to get started. And then I'm going to select this CAD box, and then I'm going to open it up. We're going to go down to the fill style, and then we're just going to change this to a solid fill type, and then we're just going to give it a different color. Maybe it would be this color. Press OK, then OK again, and then if we press spacebar, we can then delete this wall and then select the CAD box and just drag it out to the other side. And so now we have this CAD box with our pink fill, and then we can make a copy of it off to the side, add a text note indicating that this is going to be a demoed wall. So those are some methods you can show demoed walls in the software. If your permitting department does not need this much detail and all they need is just the final floor plan, you can go ahead and just delete the walls. And this is what we're going to go under the assumption is for today's plan. So we're just going to go ahead and delete this wall, and we're going to go ahead and delete this CAD box. And then next we're going to focus our attention over here. You can see that currently this bathroom is just closed off to the one bedroom in the house, but we're going to open up this bathroom to the rest of the house. So we're going to delete this door, and then we're just going to add a new door so that we can open up to the rest of our house. And notice I'm getting that feedback as I place the door. And then next we're going to add an entryway to the front of the house. So let's take a look at our current wall types. Pressing spacebar, I'm going to go up to our wall tools, and I have our straight exterior wall selected. And I'm just going to draw a small exterior wall right there. Double click on it to open it up. And under wall types, you can see that's that yellow existing wall type. So I want this wall type to be that yellow addition wall type, and any future walls that we draw to be this yellow addition wall type. So we're going to change this from within our default settings. So we're going to cancel out of this, go ahead and delete that wall, go up to our default settings, walls, exterior wall, go to our wall types panel, and change this to the siding 6 yellow addition wall type. And you can see that it has that blue fill, so we can easily differentiate our new walls from our existing walls. Open up our interior wall type and change this one as well to the interior 4 addition wall type. And this one has a yellow fill versus the gray fill for the interior walls that are already existing. Press OK, press done. And now when we draw with our exterior wall tool, we have that new wall type that we can quickly recognize in our floor plan. I'm going to select this wall and delete it, and then we're just going to start drawing our entryway about in this general area and then resize it. So I'm going to click and drag right there, just form a nice small entryway. There we go. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we've done so far in a 3D view. So what we've done so far is added our entryway, and this is actually closed off from the rest of our plan. So we need to delete this door that's currently in the way and then break off this small section of wall right here so that our entryway is open to the rest of the house. So let's actually go ahead and delete this door. We're going to select it and then just press delete. And then we need to separate this small section of wall from the rest of this wall. So let's go ahead and pull this side by side with our floor plan. And then I'm just going to zoom in and focus in just on this area. Now, if I select this wall right now, it's one big section. In our toolbar, we have this option for break wall, and then when I click on this wall, it'll divide it into two separate sections at the break. So I'm just going to place the break right there, and I instantly get visual feedback that we've divided it into two separate sections, and then pressing spacebar, I can click on these two separate sections independently, and then just drag this wall back on either side. And now we've opened up our entryway to the rest of the house. Let's go back to our floor plan and zoom out a little bit, and then turn on our temporary dimension in our toolbar on the right hand side of the screen, which will produce a temporary dimension from any object that we've selected relative to nearby objects. So here we've selected this wall, and if we zoom in a little bit closer, we can see that it's about 16 inches away from the framing layer of this interior wall. So if we wanted to push it further away, we just select the dimension, type in our new desired dimension, and press enter. And you can see that wall's position updated, and that dimension is also updated as well. So let's go ahead and do this for the other remaining walls on this entryway. We're going to move this wall a little bit, and it looks like our dimension for the entryway relative to the front of the house is not visible, so we need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. It's about 4.5 feet, but I know that I want it to be 42 inches, so I'm going to select the dimension, type in 42 and press enter. And you can see that it pushed the wall back a little bit, and then I'm going to select our last wall, select our dimension, change it to 8 feet and press enter, and it scooted that wall in a little bit to account for that change in space. And the last thing we need to do here is just add a door. So we're going to go up to our door tools, make sure we have our door selected, and then just place it right there. And notice that we instantly get feedback as to which side it's going to be swinging on, and we can change that if we want to just by selecting the door and then changing the swing handle any way we need to. So about right there looks fine for me. Next, we're ready to build our second floor. So I'm going to go up to our build tools and go to build, floor, build new floor, and then we get a dialog that asks us how we want to build this second floor. The first option is derive the second floor from the first floor plan, or we can have a blank floor plan and freehand draw the walls. We're going to go ahead and derive the second floor from the first floor plan and press OK. And then we can change some of the information about this floor if we want to in this dialog box, but we're fine with this for now, so we're going to press OK. And then our second floor has been created in our 2D floor plan, and if we jump over to our 3D view and go up one floor to our second floor, we can instantly see that as well. Now if we go back over to our 2D floor plan, you'll notice that these walls are blue, indicating they're the addition, but these walls are gray, indicating that they were the existing walls. Some of these walls are the existing walls and some of them are the addition walls because they're just a copy of whatever walls underneath them, but we can quickly switch them all over to the addition walls by going up to our parent walls tool, holding the shift and selecting all of our walls, opening them up, and then just changing the wall type to our addition wall type. So siding 6 yellow addition, and press OK. Now instantly all of our walls are our new wall type. I'm going to change the placement of these walls a little bit, so I'm going to select this front wall and then just scoot it back a little bit, and then same with this wall on the left hand side, just select it and scoot it back to there. And if we needed to see our interior walls underneath us, we can turn on our reference floor display, and that will show us the walls, doors, and windows underneath us, and you can fine tune which layers you're seeing beneath up in the toolbars. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this, press spacebar, turn off our reference floor display, and turn off our temporary dimension. And now we're ready to add some stairs leading to the second floor. So I'm going to go back to our first floor in our floor plan, go over to our stair tools, and here we have a couple different stair tools. The first is draw stairs. We can also use our straight stairs to go a short distance from a porch or a deck to the terrain. We have different curved stair tools, and if you're already a Chief Architect user, you'll notice these two new options for an L-shaped stair and a U-shaped stair. If we click on this L-shaped stair, we can tell the program which way we would like the staircase to build. In this case, let's go clockwise. And if you're building a U-shaped stair, you can specify that gap between the two stairs. Let's go ahead and press OK. And you can see how we get that feedback as to where the staircase is going to be located. And if I bump it up against the wall and move my cursor, notice that it changes the up direction for those stairs. Let's go ahead and bring it back to this wall over here and just click once. And you can instantly see those stairs are dropped in our plan, and in our 3D view you can see how those are starting to come through the floor. Notice how the stairs are just merging through to the second floor, and so we need to create a stairwell. If I click on the staircase once, in our bottom toolbar we have this option for auto stairwell, and clicking on it once, a hole is cut in our second floor platform and a stair railing has been placed around that stairwell. Next, let's create a closet underneath these stairs. So in our floor plan, let's zoom in a little bit right here, and over in our 3D view, go back down to the first floor and just focus in right here and turn our camera just slightly. There we go. And then go back over to our 2D floor plan, grab our interior wall, and then start drawing it underneath our stairs. And notice how you can see that wall cut underneath our staircase in that 3D view. And if you look in our floor plan, notice that you can see the wall underneath the stairs but not the landing. This is because if I open up the staircase and take a look at the fill style, I have the transparency set to 58% so that we can see through it a little bit. Let's go ahead and do this for the landing. Just double click to open it up, go down to the fill style, change to 58% and press enter. And now we can see through the landing to the wall. And let's select the wall and bring it out a little bit so that we have a little bit more space underneath that staircase. And I'm just going to use the arrows on my keyboard to nudge it over. And once we've nudged it over too far, look at how it goes through the staircase. And it actually looks like we have a little bit more space we can drag out the stairs. So let's go ahead and drag it out a little bit further. Maybe a little bit more. And then let's press the right arrow on our keyboard to bring it back. There we go. And then we're just going to make a copy of this and reflect it about this stair so that we have one on the other side. So we're going to go down to copy, reflect about object, reflect about the stairs, and then just drag it back right here. And then I want to continue drawing our walls this direction, so we have this diamond edit handle which will allow us to continue dragging in this direction. And then we're just going to do the same thing one more time up here. And I'm going to get into our 3D view and reposition our camera so we can see a little bit of what's going on. So it looks like we have a little bit of adjustments to make. So let's go back into our floor plan, select the stairs and press tab if you need to cycle through objects. And then just bring it down. Right there is too far, so let's bring it back once. And then same with this wall, adjust its position just slightly. There we go. And then next let's drop in a door into this wall. So we're going to go up to our door tools, drop the door in right there, and then let's adjust the size of it. So I'm going to double click on it, and we're going to change its width to 24 inches. Press tab and we get that preview. Okay, and then let's center it within that room. So we're going to go down to our center object tool and then just find the room, and notice how we get that gray line giving us feedback. Click once and you can see the position of that door updated slightly, and it's now centered in that wall. And if we get out of this 3D view and if we go up to our second floor, we can see how these railings came in looking like walls but with a single layer and with just a white fill. There were many new features added to stairs in X9. We don't really have time to go through them in this webinar, but I just wanted to show you some of them over on our website. We added new features in X9 for customizing the stair railing styles, new spacing options for newels and balusters, changing the styles of your stairs by painting directly from the library browser, new independent controls for the stair landings, and the new L and U-shaped stair tools we mentioned. And you can watch all these new features in action by clicking on this video. So jumping back into the program, we're going to go ahead and draw some more walls on our second floor. So let's go ahead and get into our floor plan. And we're going to start by converting some of these railings to walls. So what we're going to do is select all of the railings that we want to convert to walls by holding Control, and then just going through and selecting them one at a time. So there I've got 3 and 4 selected, and then we're going to open them by selecting Open Objects in the bottom left-hand toolbar. And we're just going to uncheck Railing, uncheck No Locate, and then go to our wall types and change them from the interior railing to the interior for addition, and press OK. And now if we press spacebar, those railings have now been turned into walls. And then we can click on them and just drag them out so that they meet our existing exterior walls. So we're going to do that for this wall and for this wall as well. So this area is going to be where our master bedroom is going to be located, and then we're going to have a master bath followed by the master closet over in this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the general location in which the walls for these new rooms are going to be, and then we're going to go through and dimension them. So let's go ahead and select our interior wall tool, and then we're going to just drag an interior wall defining the bathroom space, and then we're just going to put up a little privacy wall right here for our toilet, and then another wall over in this area for our shower, and then we're going to go ahead and place a wall right here for what will end up defining the space for our master closet. Before we start dimensioning the second story floor plan, let's make sure we're meeting our headspace requirements for our stairs and maybe even create some more livable space in our master bathroom. So we're going to go up to our camera tools and we're going to select our back clipped cross section, and then we're just going to drag a small back clipped cross section right there going through our stairs and through these walls. Now that we are in the section view, we're going to first show the slope of the stairs along the top points of the stair treads and then measure the distance from the ceiling to the slope. So let's zoom in a little bit closer here, and then we're just going to select our CAD line and then just get it on the point up there and then connect it to the top point of the tread down there, and then use our point-to-point dimension tool to measure the distance from the ceiling to the slope. So there I've got it selected, and I'm just going to bring it to the ceiling right there and then just measure down to right there. So we can see that that distance is about 8'4", and we know that our clearance requirement has to be at least 6'8", so we're more than exceeding it right now. So this means that we can push this wall out a little bit and create some more living room in this master bathroom. So we need to find the point on this line that the slope to the ceiling is 6'8". So what we're going to do is we're just going to draw out a CAD line, and then we're going to take our point-to-point dimension tool again. Once again, dimension from the ceiling to this new CAD line. And then I just got lucky there in that it was already 6'8". We know now that where this line intersects our slope is going to be our 6'8" point. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer and then just bring it on over. So about right there is where we're going to be at 6'8". So I'm going to just slide our point-to-point dimension along this CAD line until we're right there. Okay, and will actually give us just a little bit of extra. We know that if we were to let this go down, we'd be exceeding 6'8". And then we're just going to use our tape measure and measure the distance between these two dimension lines. And we know that we have that much extra space to push this wall out. So we're going to go to this dimension line and then just dimension over to this one. And it's about roughly 2'6". So then we're going to go back to our floor plan. And then we're just going to drag a manual dimension through our walls. So we're going to go back to our dimensioning tools, make sure we have our manual dimension selected, and then just click and drag it through our walls. And yes, we do want to see the display of this layer. We're going to click on the wall we want to move, click on the dimension, and then just add 2 feet 6 inches, press enter. That wall got pushed out, and now we probably have room for a small linen closet in that bathroom. If we go back to our cross section, we can see that we're now meeting our clearance requirement. So now let's do a little bit of work and clean up these dimensions and this CAD line. I'm going to press spacebar and then just go through and delete these items. And then we're just going to draw a new point-to-point dimension going from the ceiling down to our slope. And once we hit our slope, we'll get our feedback. And you might have noticed the dimension we just deleted was 6 foot 8 and 15/16 of an inch, and this new dimension is 6 foot 9 and 13/16 of an inch. This new dimension is a bit larger because we are going from the ceiling to the slope, whereas the old dimension was going from the ceiling to our horizontal CAD line we were using as a reference point. So that's how those two dimensions were less than an inch different. If we wanted to spend more time fine-tuning these dimensions, we could, but since we know that we're meeting our clearance requirement, and we can go ahead and save this view for when we create our layout sheets. So I'm going to go up to our toolbar, press Save Active Camera, and then we can go ahead and close this, and we can reopen this camera at any time just by double clicking on our back click cross section. So next, let's go ahead and dimension the walls on our second floor. We have a feature called Auto Exterior Dimensions, which will take the dimensions going around our house, and you can set up in your settings so that it reaches the interior walls in your plan. And you can also set it to pick up doors and windows, which we'll take a look at here in a little bit. But we can see all the dimensions going around our house, and now we're ready to move some of these walls. We know that these two walls right here are in place because we had moved them from when they were rails to connect to the exterior walls, and we are not going to be moving our exterior walls because we know that they're sitting where we want them over the first floor walls. So we're going to come over to this part of our plan and modify the spacing in the bathroom and the closet a little bit. So I'm going to select the wall I want to move, select the dimension, and then just type in our new dimension, 7 foot 9 inches, and press enter. And that's slightly updated. And then we're going to create some more space for our toilet right here. I'm going to select the wall, select the dimension, and then just type in our new dimension, 3 foot 9.5. Press enter. And then select our last wall that we want to move, select the dimension, and then just change it to the new desired dimension. And there we have most of the space in our master bathroom edited. We just need to modify a few more things. The first is we need to add some walls for our linen closet, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to select on this wall and then just drag it out, and notice that I'm getting a blue line showing that I'm coplanar with other walls. We're just going to drag it out till I'm coplanar with this wall, which will be the other side of our glass shower, and then we're just going to go ahead and drag it over here to form a small linen closet. And then next, let's go ahead and dimension what will end up being our master shower. So we're going to go up to our manual dimension tool. We also have an interior dimension that we can use for this space as well, which measures from the inner framing layer of our walls. Let's go ahead and drag this manual dimension tool, and we actually get from the exterior framing layer to exterior framing layer here, and then we can adjust the space as necessary. Since these walls are in position, we just need to adjust this wall. So let's go ahead and press spacebar, select the wall, select the dimension, and then type in our new dimension and press enter. And now we have our master bathroom space dimensioned. And let's go ahead and delete some of these dimensions that we don't necessarily need. For example, we need this dimension to show that's going through this wall in the closet and where it's located. So let's go ahead and delete this. And with our manual dimension selected, just draw a new one. There we go. Now we have the dimension from the exterior wall to the front of the closet, and the distance from the front of the closet to the back of the wall. And then draw another dimension going from the exterior wall of the house to this side wall of the master closet. Any more dimensions we need we can add in, but for now let's just keep going and designing our second floor. So we're going to go up to our door tools and just drop in some doors. We're going to add the first door going to our master bedroom, the door going to our master bathroom, and then we're actually going to change the door styles up a little bit for the little closet and for going into our master closet. We're just going to select the bifold door for the closet, so we're just going to drop that in right here. And then going into the master closet, we're going to take a pocket door. So we're just going to select that and drop it in right there. And then we're going to change the side from which it's sliding. So we're going to select it and then just rotate it over. There we go. And then let's go ahead and rotate this door while we're at it. There we go. And then let's verify that this door is centered on the little linen closet. Select the door and then select our center object tool. And then make sure we're over the room. And then the position of that door is updated. Next, let's take a look at what we've done in a 3D view. So let's jump over to our perspective floor overview and just zoom out a little bit. We can see that we've added new walls into our plan, we've added doors, and next let's go ahead and drop some windows into what will be our master bedroom. So I'm going to come over to this area and I'm going to go up and select a window, and we instantly get that gray outline showing where that window will be placed. And there we placed it. And let's go ahead and open it up and change some of the design styles of it. So let's double click on it, and let's change it from the default window style to the fixed glass. And then let's also add some more lights to it. So we're going to go down to our lights panel, and real quick before we do that, notice that the floor to top automatically place the top at 80 inches. And so we're going to go down to lights panel and then just add one more. There we go, and press OK. Now I want to add some more windows of this exact style along this wall and create one big mold unit. There's a couple ways we can do this, and I'm going to use our multiple copy tool to do this. So I'm going to select the tool and then select the child tool to really fine tune how we want to place the multiple copy. So we can evenly distribute copies of this object along a single line, which will demonstrate how this works a little bit later on. But for now, let's place offset copies of it, and we're going to select that's moving 36 inches. And if you're working with different objects in the program, you can set up how those are going to be spaced right here. But for this window, we're going to make sure that's 36 inches. Press OK. And then when I go over the square move handle, you'll see how my cursor changes. And then we're going to drag out, and once we move 36 inches, we'll make copies. There we go. And then we can select all three of these by holding Control. And then in our bottom toolbar, we have this option for mold unit. So let's go ahead and press that. And now it's one single unit. So if this big mold unit is a window that we like, we can add it to our user library and drop it into future designs. So while we're talking about the library, let's open up our library browser right here. And this is where we can find more items to place in our program. Right here is the core content, which is most of the items that come with the program when you first download it. And then you can download bonus catalogs from our website, manufacturer's content, and then our user catalog, which is what we're going to be using for today's design. So we're going to go ahead and select that mold unit and then press add to library, and instantly that gets added to our user library, where we can then select it in future designs and then just drop it in. Let's go ahead and close our library browser for now and go over to our floor plan real quick and define what type of room this is, which will give it a room label. You'll notice that on the first floor that our rooms already have room labels. This is because in the Room Planner mobile app I defined the individual room types. When the Room Planner file is imported from the cloud into the Chief Architect desktop software, the room types carried over. In the default settings for the program, you can predetermine different properties for your room types, such as the flooring materials, the flooring structures, ceiling structures, and more. In X9, this feature was expanded so that you can create your own custom room types. So let's go back up to the second floor, double click on the room to open it up, and under room type, change it to the master bedroom. And you can create those new room types right here by pressing define and then pressing copy and then editing them as needed. You can also do this from within your default settings as well. We're going to cancel out of this and just press OK on this master bedroom. And if we take a look at our 3D view, we can see that that master bedroom now has carpet instead of the hardwood floor. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the bathroom. Let's do this in 3D. Press spacebar, double click on the room to select it, and change it from the unspecified room type to the master bath, and press OK. And now that master bath has a tile as the flooring. We're not going to go into too much detail on designing the bathroom in this webinar. We have different webinars and training resources on designing those, but let's go back into our floor plan real quick. And in our user library, I already have a set for the bathroom created that I want to use. So we're just going to drop this in over here off into some empty space, and then click on this. And this is actually an architectural block, which is similar to this mold window unit, but it just contains different objects. And we're going to rotate it, and we're going to do a point-to-point move and get the vanity positioned to where we need it in the bathroom. So how the point-to-point move works is you select the object, and then you select the point-to-point move tool. You select the point on the object that you want to move, and then you select the point in the plan you want it to move it to. So in this case right there. And now our architectural block has moved. And let's go ahead and unblock this. And now we can select the different items individually if we need to. And let's take a look at this in our 3D view. And we can go ahead and rotate around. And we can see that our vanity came in. So next, let's go ahead and add some more windows into our design. Let's go ahead and jump back into our floor plan and just zoom in right here a little bit. Grab our window tool and then just place a window right there. And then we're actually going to resize this window a little bit. Let's go ahead and open it up, and we're going to resize it to 28 inches and press enter. And then we're just going to center it over the middle cabinet. So I've got the window selected, center object tool, middle cabinet, and then we're just going to go ahead and place some copies of it on either side of our vanity. And before we move much further, let's go ahead and close our library browser to give us a little bit more space to work with. So let's go ahead and make the copy, and we're actually just going to do a copy and paste in place, and then just move it out a little bit right there. And then we're going to make a copy of this and reflect it to the other side of the vanity to make sure it's the same distance apart from our sinks and mirrors as this copy. So let's actually go ahead and move this a little bit further away. Copy, reflect about object, reflect it about our center cabinet, and there we have our second copy. And you'll notice that our auto exterior dimensions are actually picking up all of our windows. And then next, let's jump back into our 3D view and then just maneuver around over here, and our windows are starting to look pretty good. One last thing I wanted to add to this bathroom is a niche over by this tub, and a new tool added to Chief Architect X9 is a dedicated wall niche. So if we go up to our window tools, that wall niche is going to be located right here, and we can just click where we want it, and it acts similarly to our windows in that we can click it and resize it. If we double click on it to open it up, we can change some of the properties of this niche. Let's go ahead and add an arch to it. So a broken arch, make it 3 inches. Press spacebar and we can get a preview of that. And once we're happy with our preview, press enter or OK. And then we can use our material eyedropper to pick up a material from one object in a plan and distribute it to others. So let's go ahead and pick up the material of this backsplash and then just apply it to the niche. And then let's just center the niche over the tub. So let's select it, center object, and then just center it over the tub. And now we quickly have a wall niche created. So next, let's go ahead and add some lights and outlets to this room. So let's go back into our floor plan. And what we're going to do first is add some lights to this bathroom. So we're going to go up to our electrical tools, select a light, and we're just going to start off by placing it right here in our plan. And then we want to place a couple more, and we want to evenly space them along this light path. So let's go ahead and select the light, and then we're going to go down to our multiple copy tool and then click the sub tool, and we're going to go to this evenly distribute copies when dragging, and we're just going to go ahead and place 2 copies. Press OK, and just click and drag those 2 copies, and as I drag, the distance between them increases evenly. Right there looks fine for this. And let's actually jump into our 3D view and back the camera out so we can take a look at how these are coming in. There we go. And let's jump back into our floor plan. And let's place 1 light over the tub and then some lights over these sinks as well. And then maybe 1 light over by our toilet. So maybe right there looks fine. And then let's add a switch. And then we're actually going to have a 3-way connection between these lights and switches. And then let's place another switch right there for the lights over the sinks, and then a switch right here for the light over the tub. And then we need to connect them. So if we go over to our electrical tools, we have this option for connect electrical, and then we can just draw out where these light switches are connecting to. There we go. So that takes care of the lights over the sink. Now let's take care of the lights over in the body of our bathroom. So we're just going to click and drag and zoom out a little bit right here, and then just add it over to this switch, and watch it on the switch as it switches to a 3-way, and then just drag 1 more over here. And then notice that it's kind of messy with all this information being displayed, so let's go ahead and clean up our layers a little bit. I'm going to press spacebar to select objects, and we can turn off these layers right here in our display options. But we also have this icon for active layer display options. So if we click that, we can quickly see our layers over in our right hand toolbar. And as we click on our different objects in our plan, we can just turn off those layers. So let's turn off our auto exterior dimensions for now. Let's click on some of these lights, and we don't necessarily need to see at the recessed down lights. So let's turn off our electrical labels. We don't need to see this manual dimension at this point. We can turn off the room label for now. So that quickly cleaned up our plan, and now we can more easily work with the objects in our plan. So let's close our active layer display options, and then we can adjust the arc of these electrical connections if we need to by just selecting them and dragging the line into the appropriate position. So there we go, that's going to help out a little bit. Drag this one over here. There we go. Maybe drag this one so it's not intersecting with this one. Now we can easily see where our lights and their connections are in the plan. And then let's go ahead and place some outlets. So I'm going to select an outlet right here. And let's actually use our 110 volt outlet. Place one right there. Maybe underneath our switches over on this side. And then maybe up against this wall. And let's actually take a look at it in a 3D view and see how we're doing. We have all of our lights and our outlets are starting to be placed. If we look right here, this outlet's not in the most desired position, so I'm going to select it and move it, and I'm going to hold control, which will unlock our snapping. And then I'm just going to place a copy over here too, and we're actually going to do the copy and reflect about object and reflect it about this center cabinet. And now we have that outlet positioned over here where we need it. And now we have all of our electrical in place. So now let's switch gears and add a terrain and design our porch. So we're going to go back down to the first floor in our floor plan, zoom out a little bit, press spacebar to get back to our select objects, and then just add a terrain by going to terrain, create terrain perimeter. If we zoom out, we can see that we have a green outline of our terrain in our plan. We can also select it and move the size of it if we need to. We can arc it so that we can really create different shapes with our terrain. And if you need to add elevation information to this terrain, you can do that here as well. We're not going to focus too heavily on this for this webinar. We're getting kind of short on time here. Let's go ahead and work on the porch, and then we'll shift focus to the roof. So we're just going to zoom in close here, and let's get into another 3D view and take a look at what we've done. We're just going to click on our 3D cameras and select our perspective full overview. And let's go ahead and work side by side with our floor plan. And just zoom in close here. There we go. So we're going to use a special wall tool we have called the room divider. And this acts as an invisible wall. And it creates a boundary from which you can define a space without creating any actual walls. So we're going to go ahead and get into our floor plan, and let's grab that tool again, and then just click and drag about where we need it. So we're going to start here, just work our way around until we have it connected to our exterior walls, and it looks like we have them all connected, and instantly that appears in our 3D view. Now I know that this is just going to be a concrete porch, so we're going to open up this room, and we're going to go down to define it as a porch. And using some of the more advanced custom room definitions, I already have the floor structure to be a concrete slab, but we just need to change its thickness to 24 inches so that it reaches our terrain. Press OK, and press OK again. And then it's going to want to place a room label for our porch here, and let's go ahead and select yes, we wanted to see it in our floor plan. And now we have our porch created. Let's go ahead and drop in some plants that I've already picked out. So we're going to go to our library browser, and we're just going to select this front plants block that I've created, and then just place it right there in our plan. Close our library browser, and then just move this block to the appropriate position. But before we do that, let's go ahead and work on dimensioning this porch a little bit. So I'm going to press spacebar and then turn back on our temporary dimension and click on the first invisible wall that we want to move. And then we're just going to go around our porch and update these dimensions. This first dimension is going to be 6'8". And then we're actually going to select this invisible wall and bring it in a little bit so that we get a dimension running from the invisible wall to the side of our entryway. Select it one more time, and then change that to 2'6". Change the front to be 7 feet away. And it looks like I did not get the appropriate wall there. I needed it to go 7 feet from this front wall, so let's select over there. 7 feet, enter. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. Click on this wall over here, 2 feet 6 inches. And then jump to the right hand side over here And then once again, this side is going to be 6'8". Press enter. And then we can just go ahead and select this invisible wall and drag it back. And that's going to complete the size of our porch. So now we're ready to position these plants. We can go ahead and select them and just drag them into the desired location, which is going to be about right there. So now that we've got our porch design and our plants added, let's go ahead and design our roof. So one of the benefits of using Chief Architect software is using it as a tool to provide your customers with different design options and maybe even add some more value to your jobs. Here we have 3 different roof options that you can create in the program, and maybe have one be your low-end base roof, and then just discuss the budget with your customers and see if there's different roof design options they would like to add to the project. For this demonstration, we're going to build a combination of this roof here along with this front hip roof over our porch. So let's go ahead and jump back into the software to do this. And what I'm going to do is go up to build roof, and I'm going to select yes, I want to build all roof planes, and yes, we want auto rebuild roofs turned on so that when we make any changes to our plan, our roof planes update accordingly. And we're going to press OK. And then over in our 3D view, we can instantly see how that roof is built. Let's work with this roof over our second floor. So let's get into our floor plan and go up to our second floor. Zoom in a little bit, and we can see the green outline where our roof planes are lying. And these roof plane styles are automatically created using information from the wall. If we double click on the wall to open it and go down to the roof panel, we have different roof options that we can set. By default, if you don't have any of these selected, it's going to be a hip roof, but we can change this wall to a full gable wall by selecting this checkbox, press OK, and then our wall on the right hand side of this project will update and the roof will now be a gable roof. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and we actually have a shortcut in our bottom toolbar to make that a full gable wall right here. There we go, and so our roofs have been updated. And let's turn it off temporary dimensions real quick while we're at it. And then we need to go ahead and add those gable roof areas above the windows that we see in this picture. Let's go ahead and minimize that. So how we're going to do this is we're going to select this mold window unit that we had made, and in our bottom toolbar we have this option for gable over door window. Select that, and then we can edit how we want this gable roof over the window to build. And if we go down to this line, we can see that's going to be 128 inches. Let's go ahead and press OK. And with auto rebuild roofs turned on, that roof is automatically created. We know that we want a gable roof over the center window on the other side, and what we can do is just take a copy of that gable roof line and just place it in front of our window over here. So let's go ahead and turn on that gable line layer. So we're going to go to our active layer display options, press spacebar to clear it. We actually have to have no object selected first. Go down to our roof gable lines, and then over in our 2D view we can see that line appear. So we're just going to hit copy, and we're just going to press paste, and we're going to paste it about right there. We can see that we get the center window snap, and press OK. And then we're just going to select it, select the wall and press tab until we select the gable line, and just drag it back a little bit. And with auto rebuild roofs turned on, that gable over this window will build. Let's go ahead and turn off our active layer display options, and then we need to change the pitch of the roof over the porch so that we have a little bit of space by these windows. So in our floor plan, let's go down to our first floor, and then we need to select all of these roof planes. So we're going to do a group select again. We're going to go up to our roof planes, our roof tools, and then we're going to select our roof plane, and then we're going to hold control and then just marquee over those roof planes. With them selected, we're going to open them, go to our pitch, change it to 4, and press enter. And this question is going to tell us that by doing that, we're going to turn off auto rebuild roofs, and if we would like to proceed forward with this operation. In this case we do, so we're going to click yes. And you can see that the pitch of that roof is modified, and we now have a little bit better space underneath these windows. Let's now add a pillar that I've already created from the library browser to provide some support for this roof. So I'm going to come over here and just place one there. Oh, and let's actually unblock these plants real quick so that my clicker is not interfering with that block. And let's go ahead and turn on the display of our plants using the active layer display options. Let's go over to here and turn on the plants. Okay, and then close our active layer display option. Go to our porch column and just place the first one there. It looks like we have a couple architectural blocks of plants we need to unblock. Okay, that looks like the last one, so let's go ahead and place the column there. There, we don't need to be too fine about them right now. We'll go ahead and move them into position a little bit more. So we have all these columns where we want them, and I'm going to press space bar and then close our library browser. And then I'm going to select the columns and move them into position. Over here too. Actually, it looks like we need to move this one a little bit more. And then our last one over here. Alright, so now we have our roof built, we have support for our roof, and we're ready to move forward with our design. So next, let's build the framing for our model. Let's go ahead and close out of this 3D view and zoom out a little bit. And there's a couple different ways we can build the framing. The first is automatically creating it throughout our plan. So we're going to click on our general framing tools, and then we're going to go to build framing. And here we can automatically build framing for most of the areas in our plan. So on the foundation panel, we can specify how we're going to be building the framing for the subfloor. If we click on the first option for floor structure, we can see that we have our OSB layer and another layer for our I-joist, which we can adjust. Let's go ahead and cancel out of that. We can also specify the spacing, the joist width, and some more information about our rim joist. We do not necessarily need to see the subfloor for the first floor because we're not making any changes to it. So let's go ahead and move through these different panels. We can then go to the first floor and change the ceiling framing above the first floor. We can also specify whether this is going to be built using the subfloor for the second floor. In this case, we do want to select this checkbox, and then we're going to go over to our second floor and build the ceiling framing above our second floor. Under the wall panel, we do want to build some wall framing, but we do not want to build wall framing on the first floor. So we are not going to check this option for now, and we'll come back to building our wall framing layer. Under our openings, we can specify different depths and different header sizes right here. Framing around our fireplaces, how we want our beams and roof beams to build, different settings for our posts, whether we want to build our roof framing, which yes we do. Down by our trusses, we can set up some of our truss information and then change the material. So that's good for now. So let's go ahead and press OK. And this is going to ask if we want to see these different layers. And if we press yes throughout all these, our plan's going to be cluttered with a lot of information. So what I like to do is generally press no and then turn on the individual layers for our different framing members as we need them. So I'm just going to press no to the sill plates, no to the rim joists, no to the ceiling joists, no to rafters. And we can't see any of this because we press no. But let's go ahead and take a look at this in a 3D view. And we actually have a special 3D view just for taking a peek at our framing. And this is our perspective framing overview. So now we can see the framing in the model. And next we need to add the wall framing. So let's go ahead and jump back into our floor plan. And let's start out by building the wall framing just for our entryway. What I'm going to do is select our individual wall member, and in the bottom toolbar we have this build framing for a selected object, so that will build the framing only for this entryway wall. I'm going to select it, and no, I don't necessarily want to see this framing, so it's going to press no. And if we jump back into our 3D view, we can see how that wall framing built just for that one wall. So let's go ahead and do this for some of the other walls in our design. Let's start off by holding Control and then selecting both of the other walls for our entryway. Build framing for the selected objects and press yes. In our 3D view we can confirm that that came in. And let's go back to our floor plan, and we need to build the wall framing for the walls under the stairs. And let's actually do the marquee select to grab those walls and build the framing. So we're going to go ahead and select the wall, hold shift on our keyboard and just highlight in this area, build framing for selected objects. And if we go back to our framing overview, we can see how the framing for those members came in, and it actually looks like I must have pressed yes to see our wall framing at some point. So that's how that is going to be displayed, and we can always turn that off by selecting on the object and just turning off that layer, which we have a shortcut for that layer right here. Okay, and now let's go back up to our second floor and do the same thing. So I'm going to hold, so I'm going to select our wall tool, hold shift and then just marquee in our plan. And then I'm going to go to build framing for selected object. And no, I don't necessarily need to see it. If we go back to our 3D view, we can see how that wall framing came in. So this is going to complete most of our design work. Now we just need to prepare some of our information for our layout sheets. So what I'm going to do is actually close out of this 3D view, and we're going to create an elevation of the front of our plan. So we're going to go up to our camera tools, and we're just going to make sure we have our elevation tool selected, and then just take a view of it. So here we have a cross-section elevation of the front of our plan. And it looks like I actually brought our camera into the roof framing, so we need to take another one. We're going to close out of this and just start. Let's actually go down to the first floor to make sure that doesn't happen again. And then start back here and bring it to about right there. Alright, now we have a nice elevation of the front of our house, and we need to dimension it. And one of the convenience features in Chief Architect is an auto story pull dimension feature. And if we click on it, we can see that we get different dimensions running around each side of our house, and they're locating different objects such as the ridges, the ceilings, and so forth. In the default settings of the program, you can set up where these different dimensions will pick up in your plan, and you can also see the different heights between the dimensions as well. If there's some information that's duplicated or that we just don't want, you can click on the item and we get a diamond handle that appears over here, and here we can adjust the position of it. And if we don't want it, just bring it off and that dimension will disappear. So this is fine for now. If we wanted to fine tune this, we can. And we can also just save this and use it later in our layout sheet. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to save this active camera. Okay, and then we can go ahead and close out of this. Next, let's take a look at our materials list. So we're going to go up to Tools, Materials List, Calculate Materials for all floors. And at the very beginning, we put our existing walls, doors, and windows on their own layer. So this is not being reflected in this materials list. If you use other ordering programs, you can export this materials list in a variety of file formats, and you can also export it directly to Buildertrend. So let's go ahead and cancel this, get out of this, and no, we don't need to save this. So next, let's create a framing detail, and a good candidate for this might be that framing detail from the front wall on the second floor. So we've gone up to the second floor, we're going to select that front wall, and in our bottom toolbar we have this option right here for open wall detail, and instantly a framing detail of this wall is created, and anytime we manipulate our framing in our model, it will be relayed in this framing detail. So this detail might be a good candidate to send to our layout sheets, so let's go ahead and save it. And we're going to save this in a CAD detail, which will create a separate window where we can store this view and clearly organize our different pieces of information throughout our plan. So we're going to go up to CAD, CAD detail from view, and now we have this CAD detail selected over here. And let's go ahead and delete this duplicate, and then go up to CAD, CAD detail management, and we can see this second detail right here, which is the one we have open. So let's go ahead and rename this front wall framing detail. Press OK, and let's take a look at what this detail is right here. So we're going to select it and press open, and it looks like it's that cross-section elevation camera we have. So let's go ahead and close this, and then we can also rename that view as well. So let's go to CAD detail management and then rename it to stair detail. Press OK, and that back-clipped cross-section camera that we have showing that we're meeting our clearance requirements is separate from this CAD detail, so we can actually go ahead and delete this stair detail. And we're done with this, so we can just go ahead and press OK and then close out of this. And then next, let's create a schedule in a detail also. So we're going to go up to our CAD detail management, press new, and they're just going to create a schedule. Now we can create a couple different schedules, but for this example, let's just create a Windows schedule. Press OK. And now we have a separate window opened with where we can add our Windows schedule. So we're just going to go up to Tools, Schedule, Windows Schedule, and then just drop it in our design. And for this example, there's not too many new windows added, and most of them are just going to be these same windows up here on the second floor. Remember earlier at the beginning of the plan, we opened up our windows and opted to not have them included in the schedule. And I'll show you real quick in case you forgot, that option is right here. So on the first floor, none of those windows are included in the schedule, and we only have our second floor windows included in this schedule. And we can open up the schedule and modify what information we want to have included in the schedule. For example, we can add a 3D view, and maybe we'd rather see it more towards the start of our schedule versus the end. So let's go ahead and move this up. There we go, and press OK. And now we have our window schedule created with our 3D views. And now in our floor plan, if we go ahead and turn on our Windows label schedule under our active layer display options, and then go ahead and close this real quick, we can see that we get a window number in front of each window, and the style of this is going to be indicated from the default settings of your template plan, and that is also reflected in the schedule as well. So now that we have this started, let's go ahead and create a layout. I already have a layout started that we're just going to drag into our plan, and then bring up our program to full screen again. And you'll notice that in this layout I already have some information filled out in our title block, and you can fill out this information on page 0 and it will be reflected throughout all your different future pages. So here we have the designer's name. You can add your customer's name, their address, and any other information you want to be reflected on all pages. So on your cover page might be a good place to put any sort of disclaimers you might need. You can also put a rendering of the final project. And let's actually jump back into our model and take a look at what some of these final rendering views might look like. So we're going to go ahead and open up a perspective full overview. And now we have a perspective full overview of the model that we've created. And up in our top toolbar, we have an option for rendering techniques. And this will open up our child toolbar with all of our different rendering techniques. So right now we're in our standard view, but you can also jump into a vector view, glass house, duotone, a technical illustration, painting, watercolor, a line drawing, and then you can also adjust some of the properties of these different views. So for example, if we open up our technique options and go to watercolor, we can specify to have a line drawing on top of that watercolor, which really makes some of the details in this image pop. So maybe this would be a good view to put on our cover page. So let's go ahead and send it to the layout. I'm just going to press this button up here in our top toolbar, and here we can fine tune how we're going to be sending it over to our layout. We're going to set it to update on demand. In certain views you can set up the scaling to be different, and we'll get to that in a second. And for this, let's go ahead and press OK. And now we have that view on our layout, and we can just drag it into the corner if we want. We can also cut off some of the edge if we don't need it, and really fine tune where this is positioned in our layout sheet. So next, let's go to our second page and add one of our floor plans. So we're going to go back to our floor plan and zoom out a little bit. And one of the benefits of Chief Architect is the different layer sets you can create, and that's up here in our top toolbars. And these are just saved sets of different layers that you can quickly toggle between. So if you're working with your electrical, maybe you don't necessarily need to see your stairs or your roof planes, for example, and those will be turned off, and you can create your own layer sets to really fit your needs. But for this, let's go to our floor plan set. And there our view was cleaned up. We don't have those roof planes or some of those electrical labels that we might not necessarily need for seeing a quick floor plan. And let's send this to the layout. So we're going to go up to our button that says send to layout. And here we can set the scale if we want. A 1/4 inch equals a foot is going to be fine, so let's press OK. And now we have it on our second page. And then we can just crop down the size of it a little bit. And we also can expand this view if we need to also. So maybe we would want this expanded so we can see that camera. So let's bring it up here, actually crop it down a little bit more. Okay, and then just drag it into the corner, and I'm holding control to really drag it in there. And then we can zoom in and add a note right here as to what we're looking to. So if we go up to our text notes, I'm going to select a rich text note and just drop it in right here. And then type in floor plan, second floor, and then I'm actually going to underline all of this, and then underneath it we're going to write a note indicating the scales. We're going to write a 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, and notice that it's still underlined there, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Now we have a nice clean note that's going to appear in our layout, so let's go ahead and press OK, and we can see where that's displayed. And we actually might need to make that a little bit bigger so it's a little bit more legible. So let's open it up, highlight it all, and change it right there. There we go, and then just move it into position. And there we have our second floor plan with the note. And we could do this with the first floor if we needed to, but let's go ahead and move forward in our layout. So we're going to jump over to our third floor and take that exterior elevation we created, go back to the model, double click on the camera to open it, send it to the layout, and here we can specify the scale again, and let's actually go ahead and send it over as plot lines with the color fill. Press OK. And there we have that elevation on our layout, and we can just drag that in the corner as well. And then if we wanted to, we can add another note indicating what it is and what the scale is. Let's go to our fourth page and just go ahead and add our schedule. So we're going to jump back to that detail, send it to layout. We can set the scale here again if we needed to. There we go. And notice that I have a label right there. If we don't necessarily need that label, we can turn it off. So let's go ahead and go up into our active layer display options for the layout, and let's turn off the layout box label. We can once again resize that if we needed to, and then just drag it into the corner. And we can continue adding more schedules for our doors, for our cabinets, and any other items that we need to include. Let's go ahead and close our active layer display options and jump to the fifth page. And here we will add that framing detail. So let's jump back into our model, go up to our CAD options, CAD detail management, front wall framing detail, open, send to layout, and we can also set the scale here if we needed to. Now we have that CAD detail on our layout sheet, and notice that's quite small. We might include multiple framing details on this page, or maybe even a framing plan from our floor plan. But if we need to resize this detail on the layout, we can quickly do that. In the bottom toolbar, we have this option for rescale layout view. So maybe we would change this to 1/2 and press OK. And then once again, just place that where we need to in the plan and crop out any of the unnecessary borders. Let's move on to our sixth page. And here we have our stair detail. So let's jump back into our model. Double click on the camera to open it up. Zoom out a little bit. Send to layout. Once again, we can set the scale. And then crop it only to include the necessary pieces of information. So maybe in this view, all we need is really what's right there, so we could crop it quite a bit. Okay, there we go. And once again, we could resize this if we needed to. We probably would for the situation, but for this example, let's go ahead and leave it. You could also send a 3D rendering to this page. You could also send over information about your riser height and so forth. So that's going to complete today's remodeling demonstration. There are two versions of the software. The first is Chief Architect Interiors, which is intended for kitchen, bath, and interior designers. And the second version is Chief Architect Premier, which includes all the same tools and features available in Chief Architect Interiors, but then includes more tools for full residential and light commercial design. All new purchases or upgrades include 1 year of support and software assurance, which is going to cover priority phone tech support, downloading premium catalogs including manufacturer's content, new version releases, and discounts on additional licenses. And there also is a rental option. That rental is $199 per month, and if you were to rent it for 12 consecutive months for Chief Architect Interiors, you would own the license, and if you rent it for 16 consecutive months for Premier, you would own the license. We also have two mobile applications. The first is Room Planner, which can be synced with a Bluetooth laser to go out in the field, capture your measurements, and create an as-built plan, which can be imported directly into Chief Architect desktop software to continue working on your design. And the second is the Chief Architect 3D Viewer, which is a mobile app that your clients can download that you can send them the model, and they can take a look at that model in 3D on their tablet. Feel free to email us, sales@chiefarchitect.com, or give us a call, 1-800-482-4433 if you have any questions. Once again, thanks for attending. I hope you have a great day.